Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. I guess it depends on where you are, but welcome. It is an exciting day for the Football.fun NFL community. I am thrilled. For the next 15 minutes, I've got some random content that I want to go over with you as it leads up to our time with the pack rip. Let me share my screen here. So, my understanding is that in approximately 14 minutes, this page will be updated and I'll be able to rip packs. I do have, I believe, 320 packs to rip. Uh, I've not spent as much time on this as I would have liked to over the last couple days, but on my own, I've started creating a buy, sell list, sell hard list, buy hard list, wait list. So I'm working on that. I know we're all eagerly anticipating the first list of 24 players that's going to get dropped, and then we can look at how Tuesday is going to go. And just so you guys know, AJ from Football.fun is going to be on live with me tomorrow as he kind of walks through the market dynamics, and we're able to kind of see how those dynamics play out in real time. So I will, because I'll be on with AJ, I do not expect to be very active trying to trade, but it's going to be a ton of fun either way. So first thing I want to do is I want to run through some basics in regards to, you know what, I'm going to pull up my Twitter feed. And the reason why is because I spent some time over the last 3, 4, 5 days putting together content for those people who are new to the NFL dynamic, which is typically basically people who are non-US guys like myself. So with my expertise and background in fantasy football, let me jump over to this page. I wanted to make sure I could at least put some real content up for you guys. So let me start here. So what this is, what I did is I put together a viewing list. So if you're overseas, if you're here in the US, we have something called Sunday Ticket. We pay $300 for it, and we can watch essentially every game. Doesn't work that way if you don't necessarily live in the US. So what I did is I put a easy to follow list. So if you're watching, you're able to see 1 or 2 NFL games a week. Could just be the national games on like Thursday or Monday or Sunday night. You can see who's playing. And if you want to have a vested interest, you say, okay, well, like tonight, the Eagles and the Packers are playing. So if I looked at the Philadelphia Eagles, I can see that there are 4 players that are part of the Football.fun NFL roster. And then I can look at the Packers, and there are 2. Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs are also part of that. So there are 6 players in that game tonight that I may have shares in. So this is a nice, easy kind of snapshot for you to be able to take a quick look at. You look at the game, you look at this, you can figure out who's playing, and you go from there. So bookmark it, save it, whatever you need to do. I think it'll be really helpful. Obviously, for those of you who play DFS or you play football on a regular basis, this is not going to be anything wild, but it's just a quick reference point. And one thing, at least for me, who's someone who does play DFS, who does play best ball, who plays fantasy football, for me, the challenge initially was just trying to figure out, like, okay, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not part of the pool. J.K. Dobbins is part of the pool. Trying to figure out, like, who's part of the pool and not part of the pool. Obviously, the superstars, like the top 25, 30 guys, are no-brainers. After that, it gets a little interesting. Like Devontae Adams is not part of the pool. This will give you a little insight on that. So I just wanted to run through that real quick. It is on my Twitter feed. If you want to check it out, it's Best Baller Ace. I'm sorry, my X feed. I guess that's what we're calling it now. So one thing I did on here to try to make things a little easier for everybody, and also so people understand, not just people who are new to football, but people who follow football, this is more like best ball in the way that we're playing, which is great for me because I play a ton of best ball. But what I did is I put the 12 quarterbacks that we have access to that are going to be in the player pool, and I rank them in regards to how many points they scored in each of the first 9 weeks of the season. So you can see that Josh Allen, who is typically thought of as the best best ball quarterback to draft, you can see that he's only ranked in the top 3 twice. Lamar Jackson, who's dealt with injury issues this year, has ranked in the top 3 times. Jalen Hurts twice. Patrick Mahomes 4 times. And I think most people know Patrick Mahomes because his postseason results are amazing. I mean, he's essentially, I don't like to compare anybody to Tom Brady because it's a bit unrealistic, but Patrick Mahomes has been absolutely phenomenal in the postseason. He's the best quarterback that is playing football right now. Drake May, who's having a great season. Justin Herbert's having a great season. Jared Goff has only finished in the top 9 one time this year. He did finish in first place, and he's having a nice year. The problem with Jared Goff is he's really consistent, and really consistent is not going to win you things in Football.fun NFL. Having huge games, having those stellar performances, that's what's going to win. So just keep that in mind. Jared Goff, super consistent, but he just hasn't been able to get there. Baker Mayfield, I was looking at Baker Mayfield last night. He had 7 games in which he threw over 300 yards last year. This year, I believe he's had 2. So only one of those allowed him to get on the podium. He finished 3rd place in week 5. Caleb Williams, who finished 1st last week, and he's on pace to finish 1st this week, also had a 1st place finish in week 3 as well. So these are some things to keep in mind. So if you go through the Twitter feed, you're going to see I've got wide receivers here next. Gosh, I thought I had running backs next. So that threw me on a loop. And you'll notice JSN with 4. Puka is obviously a beast. He's got 6. So the strategy here is, do you want guys that at least the initial strategy, because unlike the soccer side, all of our players will be active right away. Hey, Wilder, I see you. Thanks for jumping in. Good to see you, man. The initial strategy is going to be high floor guys and high upside guys. Yes, McMillan has gotten shut out throughout the season so far. Doesn't mean that he's not having a good year. He's actually having a really solid year for a rookie. He should go over 1,000 yards, probably catching between 6 and 8 touchdowns. However, we need him to finish in the top 5 to be worth it for us. So there is going to be some strategy that comes into play in regards to active shares at some point, but initially it shouldn't have as much of an impact. We'll see how this does play out. But Cortland Sutton, he's been off to a rough start this year. Chris Olave had a good week last week. There's a lot of studs on here and a lot of guys where you can buy low on Brian Thomas. You can buy low on Chris Olave. The Saints do have a pretty soft schedule the second half of the year. Or you can buy high on guys like Puka Nacua, JSN, because those guys are having great years. There's going to be some strategy in there for you. Let's move on. Let's see. We've only got 6. Wow, I am not seeing the running back list. I will make sure I post the running back list for you guys. Oh, just kidding. Here it is. Okay. So Jonathan Taylor's obviously been an absolute beast. He already had 3 first-place finishes. He's likely to finish in first place again this week. Keep in mind, the crazy thing about Jonathan Taylor, in half his games he's played this year, he scored 3 touchdowns. That is insane. So that is not normal, does not happen on a regular basis. Christian McCaffrey had a rough day yesterday. Not a big surprise. They were down 21-0 early. However, he still caught 8 passes, which is insane. That is not normal for running backs. Christian McCaffrey is going to threaten the most receptions by a running back this year. McCaffrey, as you can see, though, has been extremely consistent. He is finished in the top 5 in 7 of the 9 weeks. I believe that is the most of any player, regardless of position. Pretty impressive. James Cook is having a great year. Rough day yesterday at Miami, but he's having a great year. And so you kind of have to balance this. TreVeyon Henderson, was pitching a shutout. Had a monster game yesterday. He's currently number 3 for the week, so he's finally going to get on the podium. So you kind of have to balance this out, right? Where's the upside? Is Travis Etienne the upside? The division the Jacksonville Jaguars playing is not great. Where's he going to land at? J.K. Dobbins is having a really nice year, but he hasn't finished in the top 5 yet. So is there going to be value there? Are you going to look to be able to buy a guy like J.K. Dobbins who may not have a lot of active shares in a couple weeks? DeAndre Smith came back. He had a nice week last week. He's having a nice season. Are you worried about the potential share that might happen in Chicago? Or I should say that is happening in Chicago. Is it going to be 70-30? Is it going to be 50-50? Bucky Irving is still hurt. We do not know exactly when he's going to come back. So that's a risk play. If you're thinking, hey, well, I can get Bucky, maybe it leads into the playoffs. We only have, I believe, 7 active weeks that we're going to be playing since we're starting in week 12. I know that they had talked about the dynamics in week 11. We'll see how that plays, but I don't think it's something we necessarily want to assume is going to happen. But when we look at the strategy, knowing we only have 7 weeks of utility before the playoffs, it's a little tough to swallow grabbing somebody like a Bucky Irving or an Amarian Hampton, both of which are hurt right now. So just keep those dynamics in mind. If it means that you're getting them cheap and they're younger guys, and you're just saying, hey, I'm going to grab these guys right now, I'll get what I can get this season, and then next season I'm positioned extremely well, then yeah, that's a strategy. So this is the tight ends. You'll notice Brock Bowers is typically referred to as the number 1 tight end in football. He's only got 2 weeks on the podium. Now, he has been dealing with some injury issues, but only 2 weeks on the podium, and he had an abysmal week in week 10. They are first place finishes, though, and at the end of the day, that's really what matters. Jake Ferguson has 5 of the 9 weeks on the podium. Tyler Warren, as a rookie, he's been an absolute beast. He's got 4 weeks on the podium. I believe he's in line to finish this week on the podium as well. So when you go through my Twitter feed, you'll notice that I put these together. I'm going to make an attempt to update these and repost them. But just so you know, if you want to keep up with that stuff, I'll give you some basic analysis. All right, let's see what else I've got on here. So these are the bye weeks. Now, if you're new to football, just so you know, there's 18 weeks, but only 17 games. In between weeks 4 and weeks 14, teams have what are called bye weeks. And when those weeks happen, it is not one team that has a bye week. It's typically a clump of between 4 and 8 teams that will all have the week off. So you need to be a little strategic. We've talked about how there are 7 weeks of utility in the regular season. These teams, the Denver Broncos, Miami Dolphins, Los Angeles Chargers, which is very uncomfortable for me to say, the New England Patriots, New York Giants, San Francisco 49ers, and the Carolina Panthers all still have a bye week, which means they're going to have 1 week less of utility. These teams will only have 6 games, as opposed to other players that have already had their bye week and will have 7 games. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to be strategic in regards to your spend and who you want to be able to play. None of these guys in week 12, none of these guys, we're here. None of these guys in week 12 are going to play. So Bo Nix is not going to play. Justin Herbert's not going to play. McConkey, who had a great game last night, isn't going to play. Achane had a monster game yesterday. He's not going to play. So just keep those things in mind when you're trying to figure out your strategy. Here, McCaffrey, Kittle had a great game yesterday. McCaffrey is not going to play in week 14. So it is important to keep those things in mind. I'm going to bear with me here. I'm just refreshing since we are okay. So let me see if there's anything else pressing here. No, we can jump on this on the way back. I am in a position where I can reveal packs right now. So why don't we do this? Give me a second here to switch screens, and we'll see how this goes. Now, I told you guys I do have a lot of packs. I have no idea what this is going to look like, and the next 5 minutes is probably going to be really bumpy for me because I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to do my best here. All right, well, let's hit it. Let's see what happens. So my understanding is these 320 packs are all going to open at one time, and it just is what it is. Oh, 14,000 Baker Mayfield. Okay. All right. I do love the explosion, right? That was pretty cool. I really don't know what I'm looking at, but apparently I got a ton of Baker Mayfield shares. I'm assuming 84 is going to be Tyler Warren. Can I click here? 13,000 shares of Tyler Warren. That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Is this AJ Brown? No, it's Dallas Goedert. Also 13,500 shares of Dallas Goedert. He has been an absolute beast this year. Let me take a quick look. I'm saying he's a beast. Let's see. Dallas Goedert has finished first in 2 of the 9 weeks and third in week 8. So, okay, this is interesting. So these are my top 3 guys. I do love Baker. So now we can kind of take a look, right? Dang, look at all these Dallas guys, right? So I've got Shakir with 13,000, Nico Collins, when healthy, one of the top 5 wide receivers in football. Dak Prescott, huge numbers from Dak. Dak Prescott has 3 podiums and 2 first place finishes. Jake Ferguson, the most podiums of any tight end this year. There's AJ Brown. Where are my stud running backs? So I got McMillan, the rookie out of Carolina, J.K. Dobbins, Jamar Chase, love that, huge Chase fan. Gadsden, the rookie tight end with the Chargers, he's a stud. Achane, that's huge, and McConkey. But just so you know, I'm from San Diego. I am a big Charger fan, so I'm a lifelong Charger fan, I should say. Jordan Love, 10,000. JSN at 10,000. That's huge. Rashee Rice, super excited about that. Love that guy. Not personally, but on the football field, I think he's great. 10,000 McBride, 10,000 Lamar Jackson. Uncle Rico Dodal has been an absolute beast lately. 10,000 to him. Caleb at 10,000. Hampton at 10, Barkley at 10. There's Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes, 9,500. Brock Bowers, 9,500. Let's go ahead and skip to the bottom because all I'm doing is reading everything you guys can probably already see, right? Yeah, thanks, Palmer. Hey, Colonel. Let's see. Not sure if I want to watch your reveal before looking at more. Let's see what the bottom looks like. So, on average, I was expecting about, I think the number was about 7,700 shares per player. So guys that were under that, Josh Allen, bummer. I mean, he's pretty close to spot on, but bummer. Drake May, Michael Pittman. I do love Pittman. Kamara, that's fine. You know, some of these guys are on my sell list, so that's absolutely fine. Kittle at 7,000. That's kind of a bummer. Bijan, that's a huge bummer. Irving, that's okay. Puka Nacua at 65. That might be the biggest disappointment right there. Wilson, stud. Zay Flowers, also studs. Not huge producers at this point, but studs. Travis Kelce, only 5,500. Oh, my gosh. Brian Thomas, Walker. Oh, Gibbs. That is definitely the biggest disappointment is Gibbs. Gibby, I love that guy. It's probably my favorite. He was my my biggest target in the running backs to buy when the market hit. So I'm probably going to have to be a lot more aggressive now than I was hoping to. Mark Andrews at 5,500. Isaiah Pacheco. I do like Pacheco. I don't love the way he's being used this year. And Chase Brown. So, yeah, this is interesting, right? So I think the trick is now we got to find out who. If you guys are in the comments, you want to jump in here with any thoughts. I think this is going to be kind of interesting because what I need to do is digest how this looks for me. Excuse me, who I'm planning on holding, who I'm planning on selling, what the price is that I feel comfortable selling that at. Does that mean that it's Mahomes at, let's assume we're gonna top out at $2, and that player is likely to be Patrick Mahomes because he is the most popular player in football in the NFL. So if it's Mahomes at $2, where's my comfort zone in regards to selling Mahomes? Does that mean it's $1.50? Does that mean I'm not selling until it hits $2? Does that mean what does that mean for everybody else? So if it's Mahomes at $2, does that mean if I'm willing to sell Hunter Henry, does that mean I'm willing to sell him at like 40 cents? Like, where's my number? Because there's going to be guys who are looking at the Patriots going, hey, these guys are killing it. Hunter Henry is Drake May's favorite target. The tight ends tend to be pretty thin. Also, the Patriots are going to make a playoff run, so this looks pretty good. So how do we figure that part out? Because other people might value Hunter Henry at $1 as a top 3 tight end, just because of his situation and the potential for playoffs. Okay, there's a lot to digest here. So, and by the way, I'm really curious to see how your guys' distributions went as well. So make sure you share this. Man, that Shakir is sneaky. He's been, I'm not going to do a ton of fantasy football analysis. I've been looking at Shakir because his numbers they're sneaking up, and he's been really consistent. So he could definitely be a guy who is in that 3 to 5 range on a very consistent basis. At the same time, if he doesn't have a lot of active shares, that's where that strategy comes into play. Plus, Shakir is a guy who, I think we all expect the Buffalo Bills to make a deep run into the playoffs again, if not finally break through and get to the Super Bowl. So he's a guy who should get 2, 3, possibly 4 playoff games. So interesting strategy here. Okay, where's a recap? Okay, top 5%. I guess that's good. The Eagles are my most packed club. EAGLES, Eagles. I don't know the song. I have some Eagles fans in my life, though, and I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that. Which, by the way, I really do like Hurts and Barkley and A.J. Brown. So I'm not disappointed about that at all. This were a real world roster value. This would be estimated an average roster value of 10.3 million. That's very confusing to me. Someone is going to have to explain that. Baker Mayfield, yes, I've got that puts me in the top 44 of all holders for Baker Mayfield. Woohoo! I do like Baker, though. You received the most at wide receiver, top 50, yada, yada, yada. Am I supposed to be screen capping? I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, now I'm getting something in my throat. We're getting all froggy. Okay, let's get back to let me wrap this up for you guys. I just want to run through a couple of the remaining tweets that I had, and we can. All right. So I was just talking about bye weeks. We're going to get back on track. So what I did is I put together a list from fantasy football experts. These are essentially guys who were getting paid to do this. And this was their list heading into week 10. And these are all fantastic websites. If you want to go on these websites to get some insight, or you don't watch a ton of football, but you want to make this as easy as possible for yourself, ESPN, Fantasy Pros, RotoWire, Yahoo, and Pro Football Focus, you're able to go onto all of those websites and grab either top 3s or top 5s for your week. So just so you know, You don't need to listen to me. You don't need to listen to some streamers in regards to what they think these people are actually paid. And I say this as someone who used to own and operate a fantasy football website and hosted a fantasy football show in San Diego on the iHeartRadio station. And I've competed in competitive leagues with some of these guys who write these, and they spend a ton of time running numbers, figuring out strategy, and they're going to be as good as anybody. With that being said, even people who spend a ton of time doing this are wrong. One thing you'll notice right away is that if you're looking at how things played out this week, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Drake May, Jalen Hurts, those guys, Josh Allen did finish third. He's third right now. We'll see what happens tonight. But 19 is not a massive number. Now, most of these guys had Taylor, Achane, and that's it on their list. But we don't see guys on here that we expected, right? We don't see McCaffrey. We don't see Cook. We didn't see Robinson. Gibbs, actually, I need to adjust this. No, Gibbs is there. Henderson was not on anybody's list. Kyron was not on anybody's list. London was, but we're not seeing these guys, right? We're not seeing Nakua, who was close. We're not seeing St. Brown, who had a good game. We're not seeing Jefferson and McCarthy are not on the same page right now. We do not see JSN on this list. And I know that can be confusing. And part of that challenge is it's not that JSN's not good. It's that the Seahawks scored 35 points in the first half. They didn't need to keep throwing the ball. So because of that, it essentially took the passing game out for the Seattle Seahawks. And that's why JSN did not finish in the top 5. These guys, 4 of the 5 had Bowers number 1. He had an abysmal game. McBride, I believe, did end up being the number 1. Yeah, McBride is number 1. Okay, that's the update. This is a lot easier now. McBride was 1, Kittle was 2, Warren was 3. RotoWire had Kittle. Nobody had Warren. Bunch of guys had Gadsden. I guess the Steelers aren't good against tight ends. Didn't really matter. Didn't seem like they could stop the run last night. So my point is, you're going to see a lot of projections out there. And the one thing you'll notice about fantasy football, if you haven't played before, is that there's a ton of variance. So when you're looking at variance, when you look at these guys, and this is mostly just chalk, you're going to see most of these names every single week on these lists. And that's okay. And those are the guys who are going to have the highest floors. We're trying to find guys that are going to have the highest ceilings because we need to finish from a quarterback and a tight end standpoint. We need guys to podium. We don't need guys to have a good week and finish 5th. That doesn't help us at all. We need guys to podium. So having more high upside guys is really where you need to be at. So keep this in mind. These are all good names for floors on a weekly basis. When you look at your projections, those are going to be guys who are really high floor guys. You need some of those guys, and you need a couple high ceiling guys. The Hendersons, the Hns, the Taylors, those guys all had big weeks. Those are high ceiling guys as well. So a good mix of that is probably going to help you out. Some of that's going to be determined by ability. Some of it's going to be determined by matchups on a weekly basis. Hopefully that makes sense. If it was too much, just send me a message on Twitter. I'm happy to explain it. Or if you want to hit me up on the Discord as well, that works. I'm going to wrap this up. So just so you guys know, if you're just catching the tail end, I'm excited to see how your packs went. I'll be looking for you on Twitter and in the Discord. You can, of course, hit me up at any time at BestBallerAce on X or at AceOut in the Discord. Happy to help out with any fantasy football information. Or if you just want to talk about your pack rips and whatnot or your strategies, excited to hear it. I will be back tomorrow with AJ as the market opens up. So that's going to be a really exciting stream. I look forward to seeing you guys then. If you have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. See ya.